Hey traders, John Howell here. In this video we're going to have a quick look at all the indexes, and also I'm going to share some things with you. I'm going to share one trading technique that's important for you to apply to your trading that's really going to help you out. So let's get straight into it. Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Alright, so traders, we're going to have a quick look at the indexes around the world, see what's happening, and then we're going to get straight into basically a technique or a trading rule that's important for you to follow when trading. So this can actually help you move forward, and it's really important to understand this when you're moving forward. Okay, so let me actually just bring up this one here. This is SLV, pretty much a nothing day across the board. As you know, I'm still in my call options for way down here, so still in a very good territory with that. You know, and looking at things like the S&P, the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, pretty much a nothing day across the board for today, looking at the markets. And the VIX is not doing much as well too. So the VIX is up a couple percent, which is not much. But yeah, I do see a lot more spiking happening with there. So guys, what I want to do for today's video is I wanted to talk about some things when it comes to trading and trading itself. See, a lot of people think, or the way that a lot of people trade, and I have been so guilty of this so many times in the past, and this is the reason why I can tell you, is because I've had those whacks. And what I'm talking about is this, is that so many people just focus on the market that they can make the most money from. And they put on a trade only focusing on what they potentially can make, what they can make. And they're thinking they're going to make a lot of money from the trade. And anytime you hop onto a trade and you say to yourself, I'm going to make a lot of money from this trade, that ego voice, that is always the wrong thing to do. So I always, whenever I think that I'm going to make a lot of money in a trade, I step back and I have a real good look at what I'm thinking, because that ego voice is never ever going to serve you. So what a lot of people do is this. A lot of people, when they're trading, they will get into a trade, or they'll find a market. And I'll give you an example, or they'll find a market that they can make a lot more money on. So they say, John, you know, if you like gold prices and gold prices are going to go up, then why don't you trade NUGT or any of these 3 times, you know, the volatility than the actual price of gold or silver itself. You know, and then there's all these other indexes out there, that like the volatility index and all that sort of stuff. It's like, it's so important, guys, that you understand that if you are trading volatility indexes, or if you go, oh, I'm so bullish on gold, what that means, I'm gonna go trade this NUGT, which I think is like 3 times the volatility than the actual normal gold price. Therefore, I can make so much more money. That's what people think, right? But what if you're wrong? What if I'm wrong? Because guess what? I'm wrong a lot of the times. So this is where you have to say, but what if I'm wrong? What is my loss going to be if I get into this particular trade? So for me, that's more important than looking at the profit side. So whenever I get into a trade, I say, yeah, I can potentially make a lot of money out of this, but if I'm wrong, what am I looking at? So a lot of people don't even look at that. A lot of people say, oh, I'm a goodness, I can make a lot of money. Guess what? If you can make a lot of money quite quickly on that 3 times leverage, say NUGT as an example, well, your loss can be so much greater as well too. And that loss can wipe you out pretty quickly. See, I don't like those big losses, and I don't like having those big losses. That's the reason why I'll never trade massive leveraged instruments like that, because I know, you know, if I can have, say, I'll stop out of, say, maybe 10 or 20% using an option, say on an SLV. Well, if I'm trading 3 times leverage, that means theoretically I can have a 40 to 60% loss pretty quickly. Makes sense? You know, if it goes against me quite quickly. I'm not happy with that loss. Because remember, trading is all about, especially when trading directional, trading is all about picking positions that are good setups, that are good charts, and basically good setups. But you're always saying, if I am wrong, and there's got to be, if I am wrong, what is my average loss going to be? And so the fact of the matter is, guys, I'm not being a downer here. I'm just being real with you. You're going to have losing trades. What are you going to do with those losing positions? And how are you going to handle that? Because I promise you guys, how you handle the losses, if you can take care of the losses quickly, like get out with small losses, the profits will take care of your account. Let me explain what I mean here. Firstly, let me actually go and talk about here. So when I got into these SLV calls, I said, okay, I'm getting in here. Now, I was very, very fortunate that I actually bought the bottom with SLV here. And I'm still in the call options right now. So I've got obviously next year call options. So looking at this market right now, where I was at, I said, okay, I'm happy with a 10 to 20% loss on the option, which if the market got down to around about, probably if it got down to around about, say, the 14.50 mark, then that would have been around about a 20% loss, maybe a bit more. So if that happened. But I also am looking at a few 100% return. And that's exactly what happened. So I was going into this knowing that I'm happy risking around 20% of my trade, and that was going to be lost, because guess what? I may have been wrong. But what happened is this thing ran up, and and at the peak up here, it was close to 200% return as silver took off. Now it's come back down, it's about 130, 140% return. Somewhere around about there, maybe 120 right now. But I'm still way ahead, right? So therefore that was the trade setup. But I'm looking at setups that I can have a small loss and I can have an exponential profits. And that's the setups I'm looking to take. Make sense? So whenever you're trading, whenever you're looking at the markets, it's so important that you are setting up, okay, let's be real here with your setups. Let's be real here with your trading. It's like, okay, if I am wrong, what is the damage going to be my account? And I'll give you an example where I really learned this. A while ago when I was trading the markets, I went into a situation where I had like 4 or 5 losers in a row. But I'll show you what actually happened here. So let me just go back. So the first trade wasn't actually, let me just see if I can go smaller there. Smaller. There we go. So the first trade was like a 10% loss. Alright, so 10% loss. The second trade was about a 20% loss. The third trade was about a 5% loss. The fourth trade was about a 15% loss. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 4 or 5 losing trades in a row from memory. It's around about 4, right? And so fourth off, you know, and even if I had a fifth trade here, I think it was around about, say, another 10% loss. It was around about there. And so you're thinking, man, you're doing quite bad, right? You're like, oh my goodness. And I went through this trade and I thought, okay, there's 10, 20%. So what, you got 30% there, 30, you got 40, you got so you got, what's that, 30, 20, so you got 30, you got 40, you got 50, that's 55, so 60% loss. So I'm down 60% including brokerage. Right? You with me so far? So I'm down 60% after 4 trades. But remember, this is about managing the risk. And this is how you get ahead in the markets long term. Ray Dalio always says, I'm worried about being wrong. If I'm wrong, what's the downside? And that's what successful traders do. They worry about if they're wrong, and they get out quickly with their losses. So I remember I had about 4 or 5 losing trades in a row. And yeah, my account wasn't down 60%. It was down to about maybe 2 or 3% in total. Because remember, I was only trading 5% of my account. So 5% of my account on all these trades. And I was actively trading. I was trading this. Within a month, I was like, within a couple of weeks, so should I say I was like this. And I was trading 5% of my account. So it was 60% of that, if you know what I mean there. So it wasn't 60% of my account down. Because when I say, let me just confirm there, the 10% is loss up of 5%. So if you're trading a $10,000 trading at 10% is like, I don't know, maybe $50 or something like that. Make sense? So that's what I say there. So overall, I was 60% down on like all the trades that I've taken of my 5% position. But guess what happened? I came out of the gate and my very next trade I had was an 80% profit. Bam. I was back right with that one trade. I was back at break even, including the brokerage. The very next trade, I had a 60% return. And guess what? Now I'm in the positive. All it took was 2 good trades, or even 1 good trade, and I recouped all my losses. That's, if you're trading directional, that's how you approach the market. You quickly get out with your losses, and you move on to, and you ride those profits. Like this one here of the SLV. I was looking at having, say, a maximum around 20% loss, and I was watching the market here. But right now on the high here, and I believe I've got a lot more upside coming moving into the year. But up the high, I was at 100%. Like right now, I'm at 100% plus. I'm at 120%. So that's the style of when you want to look there. So even if you're like 30% right, which I'm not sure if you know, but some really big successful traders, that's all they're right. You know, if you've actually read Money Master the Game and you read some of the interviews, they risk, like one guy, one of the interviews I read, he'll only put on a trade where he can see a potential 5 times the profit to 1 loss. So if he's risking $1, he wants to make a minimum of $5 on that trade. So that's the sort of return. These are big, major, successful people. That's the game you play, right? And it is a game, and it's not about getting every single trade right, because you don't know which trade you're going to get right. And so moving forward, if you're trying to make money out of the markets and you're trying to place trades, you need to think about your downside. What if you're wrong? And see, because every trade I went into, like with this whole section through here, every trade I went into, I said, okay, what if I'm wrong? And I got out with a small loss, and got out with a small loss, and got a small loss. And guess what? When the trade was right, it's really, really right, and then you make some good profits. But when people only focus on the profit, the losses get massive because they don't like taking a loss, because their brain was so focused on the profit itself, that the profit, they're like, oh my goodness, I was going to make so much money, now I'm in a loss, and it's going to come back, and no, I can't do this, and they just let this bigger loss and a bigger loss and a bigger loss and a bigger You've probably been there before, right? You can't be doing that in the markets. You're going to be wrong sometimes. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good this setup is, you may be wrong. I may be wrong with silver and gold right now. I may be wrong with the markets right now. But you got to be prepared. Okay, if I am wrong, what's my downside to this? And what am I risking to what is the potential profit there? And that's the sort of thing you need to be looking at. That's the sort of thing, and how you do that. So, and the easiest way for me to do that is every trade I get into, I say, what is my loss going to be on this trade? What is my average loss going to be in my trade? And can I see, you know, a 2 to even a 3 to 4% profit on this if this thing really gets moving? And so that's basically what I do. So I always focus on the risk first. So I'm getting into a trade. Okay, what is my, you know, if I'm wrong, what is my account going to be down by? I'm protecting my account first. Protect your account first, and the profits will take care of your account. Meaning the account will just keep growing like that. But if you only focus on the profits, your account will do this. You know what I mean? If you only focus on the profits, because the thing is, our brain, when we focus so much on the profits, we hate to be wrong, and we everything about us saying this was going to be a good trade, and then when we're wrong, you don't want to be wrong, because we don't like to be wrong as human beings, right? So we just hold on to that trade, and before you know it, that 10% loss is now a 50 or 60% loss in just one trade. You see what I'm saying there? So this is something, guys, I really want to help you out with. This is a trading technique or a thing that successful traders do every day. This is like, and guys, this is a technique that I learned from billionaire traders, billionaire investors. This is how they trade. So whatever you're entering into your next trade, say, what is my risk to my account? Protect your account at all times, and guess what? And when the profits come, they'll really come, and that's how your account grows. Ray Dalio right now has a $110 billion hedge fund. And the reason why he keeps making money, because he uses this rule. This is $110 billion hedge fund success rules to apply to it. It sounds simple, but if you keep applying this is the reason why he is the most successful trader on the planet right now, above above Warren Buffett, above Carl Icahn, all these people out there. So if he's doing it, guys, this is something you can apply to your small trading account to keep growing it, keep growing it, keep growing it. Apply this and you'll see the growth. Unfortunately, most accounts look like this here. Most accounts look like this here, but your account can look like that. And guys, this is a lesson for me as much as for you guys. Every time I get into a trade, I have to remind myself with this. This video is all about market update, plus also $110 billion hedge fund success rules. This is John Howell. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.
I'm not going to BS you here. Trading is hard. Over my 10 years of trading, I've learned some amazing systems and strategies, and I've put it all in my brand new Grab the Markets by the Balls course, and I'm giving you 100% free access. This whole course is 12 videos long and almost 10 hours of the best systems and strategies that I know. Click on the image below now to get 100% free access right now.